Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And before we dive into today's Kiki, with is Bethenny Frankel is the new Teddi Mellencamp. I know, my, have the mighty have fallen. Oh, and I say that because I actually really like Bethenny, but girl, get your life. Get your life. All right, but before we dive in, you know what to do. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to share this with a friend because a kiki is always better with community, and check out our description box down below. So with that, you guys, let's dive right on in. So the reason why I'm calling Bethenny Frankel the new Teddi Mellencamp is, well, first of all, she has the RHOBH podcast, which is essentially exactly what Teddi Mellencamp is doing with Tamra Judge, exactly what Dr. Heavenly does on her YouTube channel. It's exactly what what's her name, Karen Huger is doing on her YouTube channel. Tons of, Bravo stars, whether they're housewives or not, start podcasts and YouTube channels where they talk about Bravo. They talk about the housewives. They mention it all. And of course, Bethenny Frankel is no different. We all know that she's made millions upon millions of dollars on Skinny Girl and on real estate, but it seems like, I don't know, else is Bethenny up to? Now, don't get me wrong. I love her philanthropy. I think that she's actually a very powerful philanthropist. She puts her money where her mouth is, and she's very transparent. But maybe, I don't know, who knows, maybe she has a lot of money and she has a lot of time in her hands. So she started a podcast that's basically just, revisiting the housewives, and more power to her. I think that there's enough for all of us. I'm not one of those content creators that's like, why are all the celebrities having podcasts and YouTube channels? Well, I think it goes both ways. I think a lot of podcasters and YouTubers are making our channels to become celebrities, and a lot of celebrities see the value in becoming content creators. So I think there's enough space for all of us. So I'm not knocking Bethenny on that, but Bethenny girl, I am knocking you because you're basically the new Teddi Mellencamp. And what I mean by that is you are using your podcast to be a mouthpiece for Kyle Richards. I get it. You and Kyle, once upon a time, were really good friends. And to be honest, I think you were a little thirsty. You used to babysit for Paris Hilton and Nikki. I get it. I think you definitely have some ties to the Kardashians. You bash them all the time now. I'm not sure what happened there. But as we all know, the Hiltons and the Kardashians, they were very close. They had a falling out, at least like the kids did. And now they are back together. They've been spending the holidays together and all of that. Now, I don't know if Bethenny is being Kyle's mouthpiece on her podcast because she wants to get back in Kyle's good graces. Now, if you watched Bethenny Frankel on Watch What Happens Live with what was his name? Jeff Lewis, with Jeff Lewis. Jeff Lewis basically called Bethenny out and was like, oh, you keep saying you're such good friends with Kyle, but you unfollowed her on Instagram. Like, you guys don't follow each other on Instagram. And Bethenny was like, oh, I don't follow a lot of people. It's like, girl, bye. Bethenny, you stay on TikTok, you stay on Instagram, and now you have a housewife podcast. Girl, unfollowing and not following somebody means something. I don't think it should. I mean, but it's 2023, basically. Who you follow and who you don't follow says a lot. We use social media follows and unfollows to make a statement. So what's really good? What I want to know is what happened between you and Kyle. And are you now using your podcast as a mouthpiece to get back in her good graces? Now I have a little snippet from her podcast, but let's read the article first and we'll get into it. So this is according to Reality Blurb. Bethenny Frankel shares backstory of Kyle Richards and Kathy Hilton's feud, hints at, quote, family secrets of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills stars. Also, I want to say Bethenny's great at branding. We all know that Beverly Hills had such an explosive season, and we're still talking about it, even though they're on pause. So I think that Bethenny saying she has family secrets, she knows about Kathy, she knows about Kyle Richards. It's also for clicks, views, and downloads. It's a hot topic. We're all talking about it. We all want to know. So she's great at marketing. And again, she's not doing anything that, us content creators are doing. So celebrities, they're just like us. All right, let's keep going. Bethenny Frankel claims to know the hidden backstory of Kyle Richards' tense relationship with sister Kathy Hilton. Although the siblings have feuded multiple times in the past, the recent blowout on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was perhaps the biggest, and both stars left the reunion with no reconciliation. When Kathy joined the show as a friend in season 11, audiences were hopeful that the sisters had buried the hatchet. They appeared to be in a good place until Risa Rinna accused Kathy of threatening her sister on a cast trip, which effectively ended their détente. On an episode of RHOBH House podcast, all right, Bethenny, I know you're good at marketing, but RHOBH, I know that's supposed to be like rewind and the housewives, but it's hard to say. RHOBH? I don't like it. Anyway, let's keep going. Bethenny shared some insight into the history of Kyle and Kathy's relationship. The Real Housewives of New York star, who has been friends with Kyle for many years, claimed Kathy was originally the sister who made good as she married a Hilton. At the time, Kyle was, quote, still finding her way. Bethenny indicated that Kathy was in charge until Kyle went out on her own, which Bethenny believes upset the apple cart. The business mogul added that if all three sisters, Kyle, Kathy, and Kim Richards, had joined Real Housewives of Beverly Hills together, Kathy would have entered as the boss. However, since she arrived late in the game, there was a little bit of deference, which will always be there, shared Bethenny. When Kyle began making, quote, her own decisions and living, quote, her own life, it shook it all up between the families, alleged Bethenny. I know a lot of secrets, she added, but she indicated she kept them in the vault along with the family secrets. Bethenny then addressed Kim, who initially was the biggest star of them with her success as a Disney child actress, Escape to Witch Mountain. According to Bethenny, Kim became the woe is me substance issue sister of the show. Okay, listen, and I have a little snippet of it too that we can listen to, but I want to go in on Bethenny for a little bit. Bethenny Frankel, let me just be very clear. I really respect you as a businesswoman and as a philanthropist, but as a person who is claiming to know it all, you don't know it all, boo-boo. Your whole assessment of Kathy, Kyle, and Kim, to me, sounded very biased, delusional, and just wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. This is what you did get right. If Kathy, Kim, and Kyle all entered the show at the same time, because don't forget, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was initially a show about the three sisters, the Richard sisters and Kathy Hilton. It was supposed to be about the three sisters. And then Kathy was like, miss me with this. And it became the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then Kim and Kyle joined. I do believe Kathy would have been the boss. But even though Kathy came on as a friend of, last year, the year before that, she's been on for a couple years now as a friend of, Kathy was still the boss. Kathy was still a fan favorite over Kyle. Kathy is still a fan favorite over Kyle. So I don't know what you mean by there was deference from Kathy to Kyle or Kyle to Kathy. I miss me with that, Bethenny. As much as Kyle wants to be the queen of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, even though she has it almost like by default, just because, she was like one of the first housewives, she was supposed to be on it, long-standing, she was really in with Bravo and Andy Cohen, she's never actually worn the crown. Lisa Vanderpump wore the crown. Garcelle wears the crown. Kathy, as a friend of, wears the crown. But Kyle has never actually worn the crown. So I don't know what you're talking about with that. Maybe this episode was you trying to kiss up to Kyle to get back in her good graces. What's going on with you guys on Instagram? I don't know. But you're quickly becoming the new Teddi Mellencamp. I don't know if she pushed you up to say this because she wants some good press, because she knows that she's going into season 13 not being a fan favorite. I don't think Kyle has ever been a fan favorite. She's been a staple of the show, but that's different than being a fan favorite of the show. Those are two different things. I don't think you could ever call Kyle a fan favorite, ever. But Kathy is and always has been. And to be honest, even Kim Richards is. Kim never wore the crown, but Kim was definitely a fan favorite. She was more liked and beloved than Kyle, okay? Kim may have her demons and her issues, with substance abuse and all of that stuff, but a lot of people struggle. And how could you not? Just like you said, Kim, as a child, was supporting her entire family in Hollywood. Look at all of those child stars who unfortunately sometimes succumb to, substance abuse issues. So for you to be on your show and try and knock Kim because she was a child who was forced to financially support her entire family and then have to deal with what it means to be a child star. Look at Britney Spears. Look at Jessica Simpson. Prayers up to what happened to Aaron Carter. Look at basically all of the child stars except for a handful. A lot of them have succumbed to it. So Bethenny, shut up. You just shut up. Like, I think it's actually really dirty for her to come for Kim Richards' sobriety and substance abuse issues. Very, very dirty. Did Kyle put you up to that? Or are you just trying to kiss Kyle's butt to get back in her good graces? And I really like Bethenny, and I do respect her, but I gotta call a thing a thing. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, Bethenny's so amazing and great, when I think she really missed the mark on this one. Really missed the mark. And it's not that, and I don't think the reason why the sisters don't get along is because Kyle branched out with her own family, made her own choices with her own husband. I think the problem is that her husband, Mauricio, backstabbed Kathy Hilton's husband when he did him a favor. If my sister's husband hires my husband at his very well-to-do firm, and then my husband backstabs him by poaching investors, by lying and saying that he's in on, him starting his own business, by poaching agents, by poaching clients, you're damn right there's going to be a falling out. But that's not because Kyle and Mauricio did their own thing. It was because Kyle and Mauricio did Rick and Kathy dirty. Because remember, it's not what you do, it's always how you do it. So again, Bethenny, you're wrong, and you could completely miss the mark on this one. Completely missed the mark. But let's see what she said in her own words, because I did find a snippet on Instagram. So let's see if we can watch and see what you guys think, okay?
Kathy was the one who made good. Like, she married a Hilton and Kyle was still finding her way and young. Kathy was in charge, but Kyle came in to her own on her own. And I think that upset the apple cart.
I wonder what the show would have been like if the three of them had started on that show.
They would have come in with Kathy sort of as the boss. And
Yeah.
I think when Kathy came in later, she was coming into Kyle's show. So there's a little bit of deference between Kyle and Kathy that always will be there. But when Kyle went off and made her own decisions and lived her own life with her own husband, that shook it all up between the families. I know a lot of secrets, and I will not share any of Kyle's secrets or the family secrets. Listen, you've seen every single person in Hollywood. You've been through being a child star. You've felt relevant, less relevant. How hard does that have to be with her going from being the one big star? She was Macaulay Culkin in her household and in LA. Now she's the woe is me, poor substance issue sister on the show.
Right.
Bethenny, shut up. I'm going to tell you another reason why she's wrong. Yes, Kathy Hilton, quote, made good and married a Hilton, but Kim Richards also made good. Kim Richards' husband, I believe, came from some like heritage, billion-dollar family. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like Kim was out here just, doing willy-nilly and stuff. And then also, Kyle's first husband was also very, very rich. Farrah's father is very, very rich. She left him when Farrah was a goober, like a baby. She left him for Mauricio, and Mauricio was the one who did not have money. So I don't know what Bethenny's talking about. All three of them, Kathy Hilton married a Hilton. Kim Richards was married to a billionaire. Unfortunately, they divorced. She had her substance issues. And I'm going to give Kim Richards a shout out and some props, She supported her entire family as a child, and she's overcome those battles, and that's a lot. So I'm not going to knock Kim Richards for overcoming substance abuse. You know what I mean? Bethenny, you might want to look at your own issues because you don't always look the healthiest yourself, sweetie. And then Kyle had married someone with a lot of money. So that doesn't make sense, Bethenny. All three of them, in your words, quote, made good. It's just that Kathy Hilton's marriage was the one that lasted. Now, we know that Kyle and Mauricio have been married for years, but Mauricio is Kyle's second husband, not her first. She was married when she met up with Mauricio. Was she cheating? Take it as you will, but I'm pretty sure there was some overlap there, okay? So I don't know what Bethenny's talking about. Like, shut up, Bethenny. This, to me, just screams either Kyle put Bethenny up to this because she wants to look better. She still wants to take down her sisters, Kathy and Kim. And then also it doesn't make sense because if you're saying, Kim was the cool one and now she's the woe is me one, then how come Kathy and Kim have always had a really good relationship? Because don't forget in Amsterdam, right? Don't forget in Amsterdam, when everything went down, when Kyle did not have Kim's back, she sided with Lisa Rinna, who was going after Kim. She, hit the wine glass. She put her hands around Kim's throat. She was coming for Kim, coming for her. And the only person that had Kim's back really was Brandy. Brandy that's a whole nother video. We'll get onto messy Brandy in a little bit. But what did Kim say? Kim said, Kathy would have my back like a real sister. That's what she said. So again, it doesn't make sense what you're saying, Bethenny. If Kathy is so like, oh, I'm the boss applesauce and I'm the one who married and made good, when truth be told, Kim had married someone very, very rich and wealthy, and that never affected their family. Kim was the one who was the bigger star. Kathy did acting and all that stuff too, but Kim was still the biggest star. But Kim and Kathy haven't had any issues or problems. The only person that they've had these issues and problems with has been Kyle. And I think it comes from Kyle's own low self-esteem. It's her own stuff. Kyle needs to go to therapy and work on her stuff. She projects a lot. She assumes a lot. It's Kyle's own not feeling good enough and not feeling worthy. And then she projects that out to her sisters and to everybody else when it's like, boo-boo, the problem is you. Kim is doing Kim. Kathy is doing Kathy. Kyle is the one over there in the corner, crying and shaking and saying things are so awkward and bugging her eyes out of the People's Choice Awards. Kyle is the one being so thirsty and falling into pieces. Kim's doing Kim. Kathy's doing Kathy. They've all moved on, boo-boo. Kim looks great. She's sober. And Kathy has always been that chick. It's Kyle has been the problem. So again, I don't know why Bethenny Frankel feels the need to be the new Teddi Mellencamp, but yet here we are. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think, and again, I actually really do like Bethenny. I really do. And I'm not taking away from her business acumen. I'm not taking away from her being a great philanthropist, but Bethenny boo-boo, this wasn't it. Even Tori Spelling was like, right. Right. Like Tori was like, what the hell are you talking about, Bethenny? This isn't it. So to put it down below, do you agree with Bethenny? Do you think, you know what, Kathy was just so bothered because Kyle now is like the queen of Beverly Hills and she's just so bothered? Like, do you agree with Bethenny on that one? I don't know about that. And then what do you think about Bethenny bringing up Kim's sobriety and her, substance issues? I thought it was crass and uncalled for, but I want to know what you think. Put it down below. And then do you think Bethenny is shading Kathy and Kim on behalf of Kyle, like Kyle put her up to it? Or do you think she's doing it to get back in Kyle's good graces? Because like Jeff Lewis said, there's something going on with Instagram where they unfollowed each other, or she unfollowed her, or something was going on with Instagram where they were not friends on Instagram. So clearly trouble in paradise. And Bethenny really didn't have a response. She was talking out of both sides of her mouth and she pretty much got called out. So put it down below. Let me know what you think. Or are you like me and you're just like, Bethenny boo-boo, sometimes you don't know it all. All right, you guys, put it down below. But before you do that, you know what to do. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to share this with a friend because the key is always better with community. And check out our description box down below. With that, you guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care. where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram at Candy Washington. Let's go!